Revealed, the rival Carlos Alcaraz will face in his Indian Wells debut. Quentin Alise, currently ranked 64th in the world, managed to defeat Pablo Carreño in a match that was played over 2 days due to weather conditions. After taking the first set 6-3 on Thursday, the second set couldn't be completed due to heavy rain, so the 4-1 score remained until Friday night when Alise sealed the victory, 6-3, 6-4. The French tennis player broke Pablo Carreño's 11-match winning streak, which the Spaniard had held for the third time in his career. Quentin Alise earned the right to face Carlos Alcaraz in the second round of Indian Wells. For the Spaniard, this will be his debut, as the tournament organizers granted him a bye in the first round due to his seeded status. This will be the first ever meeting between these two players. Carlos Alcaraz and Quentin Alise have never faced each other on the court before. Indian Wells will host their first clash, where the Spaniard is the clear favorite not only to win but also to claim what would be his third consecutive title. Quentin Alise recently reached the semi-finals of the Dubai tournament, where he lost to Auger Aliassime, 7-5, 4-6, 3-6. Along the way, he defeated Andrei Rublev in the round of 16, marking his first career victory over a top 10 player. He also eliminated Roberto Bautista in the quarterfinals, making him something of a nemesis for Spanish players in recent weeks. The matchup against Carlos Alcaraz is shaping up to be the most important match of Alise's career at 28 years old. Among his greatest strengths are his serve, his powerful forehand, and his excellent game reading skills due to his anticipation. The story of Quentin Alise. The Frenchman started playing tennis at the age of 5 because his family was passionate about the sport. Inspired by Roger Federer and Gaël Monfils, Quentin Alise has set his sights on establishing himself in the ATP Top 100 and pulling off upsets against top 10 players. In 2010, he began his junior career on the ITF circuit, playing his first official tournaments and winning the Petias tournament in Tarbes. A year later, he claimed his first junior title in Qatar, and in 2012, he competed in his first Grand Slam juniors at the Australian Open. Last season was one of the most significant in his career, as he reached the quarterfinals of futures tournaments and secured 2 titles in just a month. He received a wild card for Roland Garros, where he made his debut against the King of Clay, Rafael Nadal. The Spaniard won the match 6-3, 6-3, 6-4. In 2025, Alise faced Novak Djokovic in the second round of the Australian Open after defeating Croatian Ivan Dojic. However, he was unable to challenge the Serbian, falling 6-1, 6-2, 7-6. Carlos Alcaraz is now the next challenge for the Frenchman. Total disaster for Zverev at Indian Wells. The tournament's top seed is also the first big favorite to be eliminated from the ATP Masters 1000 Indian Wells. This indirectly benefits the suspended Jannik Sinner in his pursuit of the world number 1 ranking, as well as Carlos Alcaraz, who aims to close in on the number 2 spot still held by Germany's Alexander Zverev despite his disappointing performance in the California desert. Zverev failed to clear the dangerous opening round hurdle. Although history showed a 6-1 record in his favor, he had always struggled against the Dutchman Talen Griekspoor, who is 28 years old and ranked number 43 in the world. This time, Zverev fell, after a grueling match in which he saved 5 match points before reaching a tiebreak, where he ultimately succumbed. His opponent, despite struggling to seal the victory, finally achieved his first win over a top 5 player. Carlos Alcaraz sees an opportunity after Zverev's defeat. With Alexander Zverev losing to Talen Griekspoor, a big opportunity opens up for Carlos Alcaraz. If he can defend his Indian Wells title, he would close the gap to just 400 points behind the German in the ATP rankings, with Miami and the entire clay season ahead, meaning a great chance to overtake him. Carlos Alcaraz kicks off his Indian Wells campaign on Saturday night against Frenchman Quentin Alise, a tough and in-form opponent, though Alcaraz is the clear favorite. However, considering how the tournament has unfolded so far, he cannot afford to be complacent. We've already seen 2 top contenders fall within the first 3 days, Casper Ruud against Marcos Giron and Alexander Zverev against Talen Griekspoor. Zverev's struggles in recent weeks, combined with his setback in the Coachella Valley, will cost him ranking points. Although he still holds a sizable lead, if Alcaraz secures his 3rd consecutive title at Indian Wells, things will get much tighter in the coming months. Zverev was fortunate not to be defending many points, but he will still lose 190, bringing his total to 7,945. With that number, everything now depends on Carlitos, who is defending 1,000 points. If he wins the tournament, he would rise to 7,510, a figure still behind Zverev but close enough to dream of overtaking him. In fact, Miami would then present another big opportunity. Full steam ahead for the clay season. Those 400 plus points are not a big gap, and Zverev will need to elevate his game, something he hasn't managed to do in recent months. In 2 weeks, he will defend a semi-final in Miami, but the real test will come on clay. His only major title defense points are in Rome, where he won last year, and Roland Garros, where he reached the final. However, in Monte Carlo, Munich, and Madrid, he didn't go beyond the quarterfinals. The challenge for Zverev is that, aside from Roland Garros, Carlos Alcaraz has very few points to defend, giving him an excellent opportunity to enter the French Open as the second seed. Djokovic compares tennis rising star to Alcaraz, the level of balance. The Serbian legend has praised João Fonseca and compared his characteristics to those of Carlos Alcaraz. According to Noel, the Brazilian and the Spaniard share a similar level of professionalism and devotion. João Fonseca has been one of the biggest revelations in tennis at the start of 2025. He made a name for himself at the Australian Open by defeating Andrei Rublev in the first round at just 18 years old. At the Indian Wells Masters 1000, Novak Djokovic praised the young Brazilian's impressive level. Without a doubt, he has the potential to become a true superstar in the sport. The Serbian admitted that he doesn't personally know the 18-year-old, but he still drew a comparison with Carlos Alcaraz. From what I've seen on the court, there seems to be a very high level of balance, professionalism, and devotion, similar to what we've seen with Alcaraz over the past 2 years, he said at an event in Miami. Young Brazilian talent João Fonseca has captured the attention of the tennis world in recent months. His performance in Rio de Janeiro earned him praise from top players like Alexander Zverev, Stefanos Tsitsipas, and Carlos Alcaraz, who have all highlighted his great potential. This recognition has generated high expectations about his future and positioned him as one of the rising stars of professional tennis. Novak Djokovic himself, a living legend of the sport, has expressed his admiration for João Fonseca and shared some reflections on what it means to be in his position. The Serbian star, who has experienced the highs and lows of being a tennis prodigy, recognizes the immense potential in the young Brazilian and understands the challenges that come with such rapid success. "It feels great when you're so young and playing at a high level. There's not much to lose and a lot to gain," said Djokovic. The attention and support from people build up, contributing to the player's development both on and off the court. The Serbian highlighted how this early success can serve as a confidence booster, propelling young players to new heights. However, Djokovic also cautioned Fonseca about the inevitable pressures that accompany fame and early stardom. At some point, all this attention turns into pressure and expectations, both from himself and others, he explained. Learning to navigate that pressure is crucial for long-term success. Many young players have struggled under the weight of expectations, and Djokovic's words serve as both encouragement and a warning. For Fonseca, the key will be to remain grounded, focus on his development, and build a strong mental foundation to handle the growing spotlight. If he manages to do so, he could follow in the footsteps of players like Carlos Alcaraz and establish himself as one of the next big stars in tennis.